Yes, we are. Okay, here we are. Hi, I'm James Van Oslo. Look at that.
What's up,
Mickey O'Sullivan.
Chicago?
You've seen him on the Showtime show The Chi, and now he's eating food in my car. That's the natural progression. If you have a hit cable TV show, really the next step up is eating a wrap, a veggie wrap in the car.
And these little tomato packet, ketchup packet things, just squeezing them out.
So we're going to start recording the podcast here, Car Con Carne, in a couple seconds. I should mention, I got here 90 minutes early, and I got here early specifically so I could catch up on the Chi, on Showtime, on my Galaxy S8 phone. I was watching on my phone because I'm on the Boost Mobile network, crystal clear service. I'm able to stream anything I want. So I pulled up my Amazon Prime video app, and I watched it because Showtime...
I just found out it's on Prime too, right?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's incredible.
So I was watching the Chi on my Galaxy phone, which is on Boost Mobile, boostmobile.com. They're everywhere, in and around Chicago. Go stop by. Mickey O'Sullivan's here. We're going to record a podcast.
Woo!
Uh-huh.
Mickey, Mike, Sully, Shithead, Mickey Pockets, however you know me.
I'm going to go with Mickey.
Yeah, that's good.
It's Car Con Carne. Let's eat in the car. It's Car Con Carne. And now here's the star of our show, James Van Oslo.
Today's a really exciting day because not long before we started recording, we officially became Facebook friends.
Yeah, we did about an hour ago.
This shit's serious.
It is no longer complicated. It is very straightforward.
Look at that. You know that guy.
Oh, yeah. What's up, Anthony?
Anthony Perez.
Oh,
the
my
world-famous band Black Bear Rodeo. He's
so
watching.
good.
All right. So before we started recording, Mickey mentioned that we had a mutual friend, Anthony from Black Bear Rodeo, a band who's been a guest on this show, which again proves my fundamental belief that you should never be a dick to anyone because everyone knows each other.
Truth.
How was I to know that you would know that fabulous local band from the Oak Lawn area? And you
Yeah, Spartans represent.
Spartans represent. All right, so we're recording this outside the Golden Apple. Mickey, as God is my witness, I've driven past this place for about 30 years. I've never been inside. It's a 24-hour diner right over by Southport and Wellington, right on Lincoln Avenue. This has been your de facto office, your base of operations for a really long time.
Yeah, you walked in on me doing some office work.
You had the laptop all spread out. Make yourself comfortable. It's all good.
Yeah, these folks took me in. They didn't know it. I just was having a conversation with the owner. But I was living out of my Jeep like a block and a half away from here. I was doing Henry Moore's melting with cold basement traumatics. And
Wait, you were literally living out of your Jeep?
Yeah.
Like instead of a house or an apartment? Or...
I was working at a restaurant in the southwest suburbs, and I couldn't afford the gas to get to rehearsals.
Oh, man.
So I ended up I got fired for some reason. I forget. I think for
being too handsome.
No. I was eating a shake a day. That's what it was. I was eating a shake a day, probably more than a shake a day. I had that like chocolate cake shake over at Portillo's.
Oh yeah, which is
come on, 1,000 million calories, right? So I probably got diabetes real fast, and I got really sick, and I couldn't show up to work for like 2 weeks, and I was literally in a coma in my bedroom, not in a coma.
So not literally.
Not literally, but literally, you know. And so, yeah, I couldn't afford the gas to get back and forth from Chicago to Oak Lawn.
Oh, man.
So like when you're a 20-something actor and you're like, I'm going to be working odd hours and not being able to support myself, really, you can't really pay your mom rent. She needs somebody to be paying rent over at her place. So I came up here, and I just lived out of my Jeep for a little while. Then I went to L.A., came back, and I did the same thing until a family in Lincolnwood saved my ass, but these guys were my
Lincolnwood is lovely,
family.
By the way.
Yeah, it's beautiful,
it's
isn't
lovely.
it?
Yeah.
The Cormalets. What's up, Cormalets?
You got Holy for Holies over on Toohey Avenue, fine Mexican food.
Mm-hmm. They got Sparky's over there. Have you been to Sparky's?
The diner, like the truck stop diner on Oakton Street.
So cool.
They have whatever money Sparky's has made from selling patty melts, they have not reinvested into the restaurant.
No, and I hope they never do. Right. It really is
It
the charm
does have
of
a
the
charm,
place.
right? There are a lot of hard landings there in that clientele.
Are there?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
I don't know, some tough stories, I think. Some tough backstories at that counter.
Absolutely. Actually, the first time I went there was a really sad day. A friend of mine had lost their father.
Oh, jeez.
And the friend that took me in was like, hey, you know this person, you love this person, you should come with me. And we had a conversation over breakfast that was just like the most personal and intimate conversation you can ever have while you're at Sparky's, you know. But now lifelong friends, you know.
So we got food from your home away from home, the Golden Apple. I got the Monte Cristo. I didn't even see it on the menu, but I just assumed a place like this has to have a Monte Cristo. Like there are rules to places like this. They have to have a Monte Cristo. They have to have a Reuben. They have to have a patty melt. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Hey, if I dug far enough, I'm sure I'd find a Franken cheesy.
I think there is one in there, yeah.
Yeah. So I ordered my sandwich, and the waitress said, what kind of soup would you like? And I asked what kind of soups they had. It's cream of mushroom, chicken noodle, and French onion. And I went with French onion because I believe nothing would be more attractive than eating French onion soup while on Facebook Live.
And look at it.
Hold it. What did you get? You got something?
Yeah, I got the sunset wrap here. It's on spinach. Well, I can't even do this, right?
That's good enough.
And you should see my shirt. I think I've already got a few stains on it, which is just typical.
That's what you do here.
That's me, you know. But no, yeah, the soup is really good here. This is what kept me warm while I was sleeping in my...
So my strategy, Mickey, I'm going to ask you a question.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to make it a question that requires a long answer.
Oh, shit.
So I can really try to eat this soup. And I may, as you start to answer, I may slowly slide out of the frame.
To fart? Or?
No, because I'm going to be eating this messy soup with these giant, like, croutons and...
Let's get messy, you know?
Let's get messy. All right, so let's talk about The Chi. That is in the present with you. The series really just started.
Yep, we're
last
6 episodes
Showtime.
in, right?
And you were right there in the pilot. If you want to start binging on Showtime, on Amazon, you can. Your character, Chef Dan, just in our brief interactions with Chef Dan so far, seems to have a big chip on his shoulder.
Oh, really? You think so? That was actually what a coach of mine in hockey told me, Tom Rusk. They gave me the award right at the end of the season awards. It's like the biggest chip on your shoulder.
So maybe you were typecast.
Maybe, yeah. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by chip on your shoulder?
You got an attitude.
Oh, yeah, sure.
The cooks were preparing sushi, and they found a shark in one of the fish. You're like, do we fucking prepare a shark? Just serve the damn thing. Or whatever you said. It was just such a mean, short-tempered...
Right, yeah. But, like, my thought is this. If you're running a restaurant, if you're the exec chef of a restaurant, the whole thing is about managing your kitchen staff, you know, making sure that people are staying on top of their stuff so that when they pass it on to somebody else's responsibility, that person's able to do their job really well. And so it's like, if you got people who are trying to work up in the business or, you're challenging them. You're saying, you can do better than this. You could, and you don't really have a lot of time in the kitchen, you know?
True enough. I have a more important question.
Yeah, give it to me.
Why is this soup so delicious?
This is the golden apple, baby. Everything's delicious.
Dude, this is really good. And then I think next time we saw you on The Chi, you were late for work.
Oh, yeah.
You're all pissed off. A fucking Prius almost
fucking guy in a fucking Prius almost fucking cut me off, almost fucking killed me.
So, all right, so for people who are jumping into the show, I'm doing a bad job of explaining it.
No.
What is Chef Dan all about?
Chef Dan's all about making... getting the best out of his employees and getting the best out of his restaurant. And, he's a chef. And I think that's something that we figure out with chefs in general is that, like, they might be really good at cooking, but they've got to also have a lot of other skills, like people skills, soft skills, right? And maybe Chef Dan's working on his soft skills, and maybe his employees are going to bring out more opportunities to learn from that.
One of the things I read over and over about The Chi is how intertwined everything is, how everything is kind of building towards something. I'm assuming you'll get roped into something big as
we'll find out, I guess, right,
okay.
James?
That's a good tease. Do
you like my long answer?
Perfect. So as we're recording this, the podcast episode won't be available for another week and a half or so. The Facebook Live is in the moment, and the Facebook Live is running on February 21st. You're on this coming weekend. You're in the next episode.
Yeah, we're going to be coming up... spoiler alert, so anybody who hasn't watched up until the last episode, just close your ears and close your eyes, I guess, for a few seconds. Don't log out, because that'll screw with the algorithm. I'll do it while I have pickles on my eyes, because why not?
So you don't get this on Showtime.
Yeah, this is just, this is actually a little ritual. No, it's not. So I look like a pirate.
You do.
So at the end of the last episode, I sent Jason Mitchell's character Brandon out to do a party. We put his food on the menu, and after the party, my wife and him went to his mother's wedding party. And some things happened that I don't really know much about, but I imagine will come to a head. That's
Good
pickle
tease.
Juice. That's awful.
And
Don't ever do that at home.
Yeah, I don't know what you're trying to prove, but you proved it. Job well done. We should probably take a step back. I'm talking like everyone knows what The Chi is. It's a new show. Explain The Chi.
Multi-protagonist story about a group of people from the south side of Chicago just trying to, make it in life. And it starts off with a really headline-esque Chicago south side story.
Well, it starts innocently enough. And then shit breaks bad almost immediately.
Yeah. It's as if. So you take a shooting on the south side. Most of what we hear on the news, right, is 4 dead on the south side, and then it'll go on to whatever's next. They'll throw tags on there like gang violence or whatever it is that they throw on there to get people to watch and stay tuned to the news. But what this show does is it pulls back the camera from that one little incident, and it shows everything that surrounds it. It shows the whole community, and it shows the family that lives next door, right? And like gun violence, what I'm learning as well, and I think what the country is learning, is that gun violence isn't just the victims of it, aren't just the people the family that was shot.
There's a ripple effect.
It's everybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
The guy who chose to grab a gun and solve a problem with a gun, the fact that he thought that was the option, he's a victim of gun violence too,
Right.
And so what it does is it pulls back and it says, this is not just the story. These are human beings who have very interesting, complicated, relatable lives. And, it just kind of examines how one little event can have a ripple effect on a community and, change, alter, empower, do all sorts of different things for different people in the story. And I come in with one of the characters. Brandon is an aspiring chef who works at a restaurant called Trestle and Crane, where I and my wife Sarah, who's played by Kristina Emerson, who's amazing and awesome, we run
Maybe
this restaurant. Maybe you
should marry her in real life.
No, my girl would be pretty pissed about
that.
But we run the restaurant, and we have Brandon Mitchell or Jason Mitchell and Steve Casillas. What's up, Steve? He's another Columbia grad. He's in the kitchen. Yeah, he's a good guy.
I went to Columbia. We're alums.
No kidding?
I don't even know what the mascot is.
Well, yeah, the season 2 showrunner Ayanna Davis is also an alum of Columbia as well.
I taught at Columbia for a year or two.
How was that? What'd you teach?
Radio.
Yeah.
I don't even think the radio department exists anymore.
Did you get a degree in radio?
Bachelor Arts.
Hey, good for you.
Liberal Arts.
I never finished mine.
We're working on that.
Yeah. The great thing about Columbia College, I don't think I took a math class in order to graduate.
See, that's why I failed.
You need to turn your degree back in.
No, I don't. That's Mike, by the way.
What's up? Say Michael Shannon.
Hey.
All right, so that kind of that's a good elevator pitch. And what I like about The Chi, from what I've seen so far, again, it's a new show. There's social commentary, but it's not being jammed in your face.
No,
there are messages there.
You're right about the setting up a story. Like, it's very hard to tell a multi-protagonist story. So, protagonist is what's your best way of describing it? I'd say the hero of the story, right? And so you have multiple heroes of the story, and then you're not just using devices and stuff to enhance the one protagonist story or like really bring to light this one person's. It's complicated, right? Like, if there are multiple heroes, then how do you have an antagonist? What is the antagonist? Who's the person that's challenging that? And what if it's not just a person? What if it's a city? What if it's economics? What if it's economics because of people? So it's very complicated. And the fact that Lena Waithe even like not only tried to and successfully is telling that story, but is setting it up. And I remember an interview with her saying, like, this is season 1. be patient with us. And I watched it and I was like, I mean, I don't really need to be patient with you. This is great right now. But I know what she's saying is she's like, we're trying to figure this out. We're doing something different here. And, we're trying to figure out how to best tell those stories, how to set those stories up. And it's not always as TV sometimes can be really like you want to have everything done in the pilot.
Right.
So that you're, successful as hell straight out the gate.
People forget that Breaking Bad was slow out of the gate.
Oh, yeah. And most shows are, good shows are because they have to set up some really solid storylines. Oh, yeah, we got to do this. All right, so James, being the amazing host that he is.
That's me.
He is introducing us to Zesty Blood Orange Diet Coke. Sponsor.
Yeah, they've got all these new flavors. They've got like ginger lime. They've got like a wild cherry. Cheers.
Cheers. Chicago.
Did I just get Diet Coke on you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you did. But like I said, this is all stained.
It's like christening a battleship.
It's the hardest thing about being on set is forgetting that, I choose not to eat because I'm just going to get stains all over my wardrobe, and then the wardrobe people hate me. I have to write 2 thank you letters instead of 1. Yeah.
There's almost like a spiciness to it.
There is.
Like a cayenne-ish thing going on.
It's not quite as refreshing as orange or Coke is. I don't know how I feel about this. It's not bad. I don't know, Coke. What do you think? Anybody else drink this?
I've had the ginger lime. That's delicious. All right, so I got the Monte Cristo. Here, can you feel how...
Oh, that's heavy.
Yeah.
That's solid right there.
Uh-huh. So I'm going to crack this open. Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
I love it. I love diner food. I'm really glad you chose this. This is perfect. Mike, I can't eat all this. Do you want to have a sandwich?
Sure.
All right. Here, grab.
There's no eggs on it. Right?
Hey, you want a pickle?
Are you serious?
Yeah.
The bread is definitely fried in eggs.
That's nice. Thank you, but no.
Okay.
You can have some of mine, Mike.
Oh, no, I'm good.
So am I.
We want Mike to eat.
Mike, come on here.
All right, I'll have a small piece.
Just don't eat that pickle that's been on my eye.
All right, so you mentioned Lena Waithe.
I don't know where your eye's been.
Lena Waithe is the visionary behind this.
Yeah, she's the creator of the show.
So everything I've read about her says she's amazing, visionary. Oh, my God. Is that your experience?
Yeah, I've never met anybody like her. And I've read a lot about, different people who are doing really amazing things. And there are amazing showrunners and amazing creators out there. But definitely feeling like pretty blessed to be a part of something that she's created. To be chosen to do something with her is like feeling like a good human, like I did something right in my life.
All right, so we're doing this on Facebook Live. I'm going to stop the Facebook Live. We're going to continue the conversation on Car Con Carne. We'll talk about Mickey's Chicago roots. We'll talk about how you got on the Chi.
Yeah.
We'll talk about what's next, and we'll talk more about food and other stuff.
Yeah, and just finish off that thing on Lena. Lena just got a TBS pilot as well. She's, of course, working hard on season 2. She was just on This Is Us. She's done so many interviews lately, and just a wealth of knowledge, experience, grace, faith, the whole thing. She's terrific. She is Chicago. Yeah.
Love it. Thank you for watching on Facebook Live. Watch the Chi.
Woo!
All right, so you went outside, had a little smoke. I wolfed down my Monte Cristo, which was delicious.
So good.
There's nothing like diner food.
What is the story of Monte Cristo again?
It's like ham and it's like French toast and
it's glory in a sandwich, right?
It's just delicious. Why ask questions? Why are you so nosy? Why you gotta know everything?
I just put you on the spot there. That was really shitty. Sorry.
Like I'm a fucking Monte Cristo expert. Mickey O'Sullivan from the Chi needs to know everything.
Oh, yeah. Pull out the Google machine. No, we're putting the Google machine away. We're not going to get any answers from there.
All right, so tell me, we'll go back into your start and rolling through Chicago, but how did you end up on the Chi?
Yeah, so I went away to Minnesota last year, like late winter, to do some creative work. And as soon as, any actor can tell you this, as soon as you leave Chicago or as soon as you leave LA or New York or whatever, is the minute that people are like, oh, well, you come and audition for this. And like you can go through like a month period where you don't see nothing. And so, of course, that happened. I was like, well, I could tape at the hotel tonight. And they were like, no, just wait. We'll see you tomorrow morning when you get in. I was like, okay. So did work in the morning, and then I flew back down here and I auditioned. And so after that, you get a callback and you get put on hold. And this went on for like 5 months.
Which sounds agonizing.
It does, but like at the same time, you're like super psyched. You're like, I'm in contention for this awesome role and this awesome project. But yeah, you go back and you're like, you go back in and you do something and they put you on hold and they ask you like a question like, I think it was like, you okay to shave your arms? And I was like, yeah, sure. Cool. Shave your arms. They wanted to do like tattoos or something. And then they're like, sorry, we got to release you. And I was like, well, what's the right answer there? You know what I mean? But this happens all the time, and they're going through their top 3 or top 4, whatever, however many awesome actors are up for this role. And that went on for a really long time. And, very long story short, I booked the role after like 5 months and started shooting on July 3rd with awesome showrunner Elwood Reed pulled me in. He was like, dude, I've been trying to cast you for ages. And I was like, yes, thank you, you're my rock. And then David Rodriguez he's one of the directors of the show. I'm one of the episodes. He's also a producer, and he was like the dad on set for me. It was like, everything's going to be okay if David's running around doing stuff, and
because no matter what you do in any industry, you have mentors throughout.
Totally, yeah, and they don't even know that they're your mentor
right.
yet. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So yeah, I got on set, and after like 5.5 months of doing it or whatever, you're not sure what worked, what they responded well to. So. He brought us in. The first rehearsal we did, it was a closed set rehearsal, and they do this very rarely, where they're like, only the people who need to be in this scene are going to be in this scene, and it was just so that we could all feel comfortable and relaxed and
I get that.
Safe.
Yeah,
and that made all the difference in the world to me, And my buddy Steve Casillas, he brought me in. He already knew most of the cast, and they had already been filming, and so he introduced me to everybody. And I had worked with a bunch of folks who were either like on the crew or PAs or whatever on different Chicago shows. So when I walked in, I felt like I was walking back into family, and that's a good thing when you're walking in. You know a lot of people. And I think that's a very Chicago thing, like you can get out to LA and there's so many different sets and so many different studios that you're lucky, I guess, if you recognize people or people know your name,
right?
Not because of some tabloid thing either, but because you've worked with them before and they like working with you, hopefully.
So when you first read for it, did you know this was as good as it is? Like, did you get the sense just reading that script, like, oh my God, I need to be part of this?
Yeah. Not from my sides, but like definitely I appreciated how complex it was. Like I saw there was a line in there that where I was going through. It's in the pilot, and I was going through like an order, and we had to pay for an order of food that was getting delivered, right? Like supply, like vegetables or greens or whatever. And the next line is, shit, okay. And then he moves on with another question. I was like, well, that's a chef right there, thinking on their feet, saying, okay, so if we can't afford this, what can we afford? And what can I improvise with? And I didn't know if I could really get that across, that a person is thinking that much. But it seemed to me that everybody had these deep, complex thoughts that they were bringing to decisions, and they were doing it in a fucking flash. And usually it's not that complex, I feel like, when you're reading a TV side. You're reading something that's like, oh, that's a pretty no-brainer decision, or it's a decision that your day player makes, and it's just to serve the protagonist. And I didn't feel like that with this, and so it made every scene important and special. And you see certain things writing-wise where you're like, they just released the pilot, the script, available in Los Angeles at the Library of, not Congress, but maybe it's at the Library of Congress. I don't know. But you can go and read it.
You want me to Google this?
Yeah. No. We'll call it the Library of Congress, and then we'll re-update it in the comment section. But you can go and read it, and you see how it's structured. And I saw that it was a multi-protagonist story, and I was like, this is really cool. This is interesting. And she had just won the Emmy Lena Waithe just won the Emmy for Masters of None, the Thanksgiving episode. And I just watched that before I went to go see the screening. I had all this stuff to do and research, and I didn't watch the one thing that she won the Emmy for. And it was like you got good things going for you, but you forget that like as an actor you still have a life. Like most people are like, oh, everything's going well, you must be like in a really good spot. And I had a few weeks there where I was just like down in the dumps, and I put it on, and I had never laughed so hard at an episode, and also felt for all of the characters and saw like a relation with all of them. And I'm pretty sure my neighbors thought I was like losing my mind or something, because I'm like rolling off the floor laughing by myself.
Right.
So yeah, when I read the script initially, I was like, yeah, this is special. But I didn't
once you got into it,
yeah,
you're like, holy shit.
yeah. And watching Jason Mitchell and working with him, oh my God, it's like masterclass. And Natare, who plays Ronnie on the show, he was always around set, and meeting him and talking to him and seeing how focused he was and paying attention to storylines that he's not even really in.
This cast is great.
Oh, it's unbelievable. You can just go on and on.
This cast is great to the point where there are parts where it's like watching a documentary. It feels so real.
Yeah, I don't know a single weak link in the cast, which is special.
Love it. All right, so let's take a little step back.
Yeah.
In Chicago, we talked about the fact that you lived out of your Jeep. Times are tough for working actors. You have a strong comedic background.
I do, yeah. Oh, that's nice. Thank you.
I mean, Second City, Annoyance, Upright Citizens.
Yeah, and those are like training and stuff. I was telling you earlier, I listened to that Michael Shannon interview about like, he was like, why do people think I'm so intense? And he said, it's because I followed the acting rules, like raise the stakes, enunciate, care deeply, pick up the pace, etc. And I feel the same way. I don't usually do as comedic work, that's not what brings in the bills, that's for sure. But yeah, I've trained at UCB in New York as an improviser, and I feel like that's when I'm doing my best work, is when I take a small part of a script and I could just go for whatever ideas come to me. And that's what I did for a little while to make money. Was I worked as a creative consultant, which was all about just generating as many ideas as possible and not being precious about them.
Right.
And
having that fearlessness, like just
totally,
I'm going to put this out there.
And if I don't say this one thing that's on my mind, I'm not going to get to the next thing.
Right.
It's just going to be stuck there, and it's going to be the thing that's keeping me from it. But I make I have an improv reel out there, which is just me sitting on the toilet. Did a commercial for a bidet company, and they just said they were great. They said go, and there's a little special on Bruce Almighty. Back behind the scenes, it's like working with the process of Jim Carrey, and they just put him into a scenario, and they say play, and there's like a 10-minute clip of him finding a million different ways to light a candle.
Yeah.
And that's for me, like, I love playgrounds, I love props, I love messing around, and so they put me into this public bathroom stall, and I just played with toilet paper for a good 20 minutes before they yelled cut. And at first I was like, none of this is funny, because I'd rarely do stuff on camera that's hilarious, but nobody can laugh.
Right.
Everyone's supposed to be silent so that you don't ruin the take. And so after the first minute of feeling like I was bombing, I just said, screw it.
Yeah, because you're not getting anything back.
No.
So it's probably
just
weird.
fun.
Yeah.
Once you realize that, you're like, oh, I could just have fun.
Yeah.
Because I've already felt like I've bombed, so everything's uphill from here.
Yeah, all bets are off.
Totally. And so they were nice enough to share that with me. I don't think any of it got used in the commercial, maybe a little bit of it, but they shared it with me, and I was able to be like, that is who I am as an actor at my best. I work a lot with I've been blessed to work with a lot of writers on new scripts and new projects that they're working on. I worked on Wake with Bryn Mannion in New York, who had just been nominated for a Pulitzer the year before for Force, a trilogy. I worked with Stephen Karam on The Humans when they were doing it over at American Theater Company, and I love working with new writers because it's like it's still in the process of being formed, and your decisions and the way that you connect to that material really brings that material to life. I just did DOA with Elizabeth Lovelady at Straw Dog 2 years ago, which is a rehashing of the old DOA movie. There's two of them, right? There's one, I think, Dennis Quaid in the 80s, and then there's one in the 30s.
That's the first one I saw.
Yeah, it's great. We watched it, too. It was fucking hilarious. I really, that's where I feel like I'm meant to be, is working on new material with writers, and I don't know, I feel like I'm at home when I'm able to bring that side of things to it.
That's cool. You mentioned Michael Shannon. I have one Michael Shannon story, and it's not even a good story. This was probably 2012. I was in New York. I was speaking on some panel at a convention there, and I was at the airport early, and I saw Michael Shannon standing there. And this is before we hit peak Shannon.
Yeah.
I'm also a huge comic book dork. I love comic books. I've loved them since I was a kid, and I knew that he was going to play General Zod in Man of Steel. So this is before the Henry Cavill movie came out.
Mm-hmm.
And I went up to him. I'm like, sorry to bug you, Mr. Shannon. I'm really excited for Man of Steel. He said, oh, thanks. And that's my Michael Shannon story.
No, similar. I saw him after the premiere of a play at Steppenwolf, and I went up to him and I was like, I love Take Shelter. And he was like, oh, okay, thanks. Oh God!
I could share stories like this all night long.
Yeah, totally. We're gonna one up each other with.
So I met this guy, and he said hello back,
and then he stabbed the guy. There's that old comedian's joke. Oh yeah. Anyways.
So all right. So comedic background aside,
yeah.
It seems like you've had your hand in a bunch of things, a lot of shit. You also have a movie coming out this year.
Yeah. So first major motion picture with a large theatrical release. It's going to be Captive State, directed by Rupert Wyatt and co-written by Erica Beanie, with John Goodman. And I got to
stop right there.
Yeah.
Rupert Wyatt sounds familiar. How do I know that name?
He did one of the Planet of the Apes, of course. He did The Escapist.
Yes, okay.
He did like a short film that I fell in love with a long time ago, and it was about a photographer, two photographers in a war zone, I think Libya, maybe. And it's about choosing what to shoot and what not to shoot, what is precious, what is not, and the decisions that you have when you have a weapon in your hand, which is a camera.
Yeah.
And yeah, he did The Escapist. He did, what's that? Oh, God, what is that movie? The Gambler with Mark Wahlberg.
Oh, yeah.
He did that.
Yeah. Okay.
With John Goodman's in that as well. And so I got to work on that with John Goodman, which was
there's
awesome.
the segue. John Goodman's in this movie with you.
Yeah, and he's great. It's a sci-fi story.
Now, how did Goodman feel about co-starring in a movie with you?
Oh, he was livid. He had to share that. No, he was great.
Now, I know the answer to this already, but how cool is that dude?
Oh, no doubt. Somebody said it the other day. They're like, they heard an interview that I did, and they were like, yeah, and then you just casually dropped that you worked with Sophia Bush, and I was like, I never really realized that. Like, I never took a step back to say, oh, I'm working with these people that are amazing and well known, and I'm having good experiences with them, which is top notch. I haven't had one terrible experience with a star yet, which is good.
Well, and I mean, now that you're on this Showtime show, you're in this movie. I mean, people will be saying that about Mickey O'Sullivan.
Hope so. Yeah, I just hope it's great to work with and good to be around and a good human. And does decent work too.
So tell me about this movie.
Yeah,
because it sounds cool.
I feel like I should grab the synopsis out of the Google machine right now, but I won't. It's a sci-fi movie about Chicago, an area where. God, how do I do this without ruining something that they haven't announced yet? Let's look it up. We're gonna break the rule here.
Okay.
You
have to be really careful about plot points. You can't.
Yeah, I don't want to ruin anything for anybody.
Is it one of those movies where just a description is a spoiler?
If you don't have the right description, absolutely. It's gonna be one of those. It's a great little sci-fi movie.
So don't say that much about it. But
yeah.
John Goodman is such a terrific actor.
Totally. Rupert Wyatt and Eric Beanie too. Yeah.
So and that comes out when?
It comes out in August. I think it's August 13th or 16th. So that'll be a lot of fun. I'm really excited to.
And that was shot here.
Yeah, it's shot here.
Do you refuse to do anything that shoots outside of Chicago?
No, I welcome it. I think somebody just contacted me from Canada, and I'm like, come on, get me up in Canada.
I love Canada.
Oh yeah, me too. I'm a big hockey fan, so that'd be awesome.
It's so I don't know shit about hockey. And there was a period of time I was doing some consulting work, and I'd fly to Canada maybe once, twice a month.
Yeah.
And I would jump into a cab, and inevitably the cab driver would say, "Oh, where are you from?" And I'd say, "Oh, from Chicago." And this is when the Hawks were hot. One of the years.
Oh yeah.
And they'd want to start talking hockey. They'd want to start talking about the Blackhawks. They'd start naming names of guys who I didn't even realize were on the team, like who didn't even get active play. And I'd have to fake it, and I'd say, I'm really kind of a baseball fan more than anything. How about those Jays? I would try to like steer the conversation, and the Blue Jays weren't so much.
And they'd always bring it back to you. Right? They'd always bring it back to the Hawks.
But yeah, I mean, hockey is for real. That is.
Well, it is like football in Texas, right?
Yes, absolutely.
I'm actually going up to Minnesota with my brother at the beginning of next month to go to the high school state championships up in Minnesota, because like the high school hockey, the level of competition up there is insane. They're so good. Like you can.
When I hear high school championships,
yeah.
The first thing I think of, and this is because I'm a parent, is I bet there are a lot of shithead parents in that crowd.
Oh, absolutely.
I bet there are a lot of assholes in that audience.
No doubt.
Just mean parents.
What's interesting too is like those are scouted heavily.
Oh, I bet they are.
Like here it's like if you go and play AAA or juniors, you'll see scouts there. But at the Minnesota State Championships, it's like suits everywhere, suits and clipboards everywhere. And so I think like the parents are on display too. So I don't know. I'm interested to see how that affects. But yeah, hockey's expensive. It's so expensive. These parents I'm sure they feel like they've invested so much that like personally and emotionally they're probably pretty invested too.
My son plays high school baseball. He's played baseball since he was a kid.
Kidding.
Loves doing it. But to your point, like, gear is expensive.
Yeah.
And there was a big fundraiser his team did. And he raised a lot of money, and everyone who raised over a certain amount was entered into a raffle. He won the raffle, and he won a brand new bat. And it's like this kick-ass $500 aluminum bat.
Isn't that crazy?
And I can't tell you, I was more excited than him because it meant I didn't have to find the money to buy him a new bat.
Yep.
Because I knew it was time. He needed a new one, and
how do you know that with baseball? How do you know that? Sorry. That he needs a new bat. Like, I don't know how that...
Well, I knew it because he told me. But, I mean, he needed a longer bat. He's a tall kid. He's like 6'3", and he needed something with... I know, it's crazy. He needed something with a little more...
No, I mean, that makes sense. It's the same with hockey sticks, Like, I knew I needed a new hockey stick when it broke, but...
So do you still play when you can?
I used to work down at Johnny's Ice House in the pro shop down there, and that was like the last time I truly played consistently. But it's expensive. I need new skates, and they're like $600, and you're like, hey, anybody out there want to sponsor Mickey O'Sullivan? Get him some new skates and gear, because or else I can't play. Like I can't go and
that's a GoFundMe. No one wants to.
Yeah,
help.
totally. But even in Chicago, it's hard because I don't have a car anymore. That Jeep died away, and you got a lot of smelly ass gear.
Yeah.
Like, bad smell. I don't mind it, but most people think it's foul. And you have to bring that on a bus. If you're not part of that
world, that's a little arresting.
Totally. And try bringing that on the bus during rush hour in the morning, and people are like, go fuck yourself. Get off the fucking bus,
Gonna teach you a seat, though.
Yeah, right. So, no, I don't play as much anymore. I got a shinny hockey set over at my house, so I'm always picking the corners, trying to keep my skills in shape, but that's about it.
It seems to me like you try to do a lot of different things. Like, you're one of those restless creative spirits. You want to keep moving forward. Where do you find challenges?
Doing stuff I've never done before. And everything feels like a challenge to me in the sense that, like, you can always be better, and there are people who are doing it better than you. And so, like, seeking out new experiences and saying yes to them. So, like, what else is challenging to me? Right now, going to the gym is challenging for me.
Wait, do you need to lose weight playing a chef? I mean, in theory, like, you probably don't need to look very Hollywood if you're playing a chef.
No, I get to sweat on that show too, and they don't wipe it off all the time. It's great. But no, I mean, personally, like, I usually, like, there's a role that I played a few years ago. I played this fraternity leader, and the director was like, I was thinking blonde hair, but you're not blonde. And I was like, let's do it. And I'd like to transform.
Was it a douchebag character?
Oh, yeah. I play a lot of those, too. I had a lot of flip collars in high school. I was a bit of an asshole, I'll admit it. I tried my best to be a good human, but I definitely fit the stereotype image of, a douchebag white guy, for sure.
So, all right, we talked about coming up in the city and again, living out of the Jeep. For someone listening to this podcast who is an up-and-coming actor, maybe doing some work in a storefront theater, trying to make his or her way.
Yeah.
What's that piece of advice? As someone who has kind of broken through.
Yeah.
What do you say to that person?
It's all time So, not only do you have to be doing it all the time, but it has to be your priority. And then you just got to stick in it for long enough for those experiences to generate into other experiences, and let those seeds let those seeds grow. So my thought is put in enough work before somebody gives you an opportunity so that you're ready to knock it out of the park when you do get that opportunity, and that you can actually enjoy the experience instead of just be so freaked out by the pressure.
And you're right, and I think this is true of so many different industries. I think there are people who get to a certain point that they really are excited to be at, but they're always waiting for that other shoe to drop. Like they don't have that confidence built up. They're always waiting for something to break bad on them.
Everybody, as an actor, people need you to be in those projects too, and so like making yourself not only available for them, but seeking those people out that are creating and stuff, and being around those people. I had a friend he's an enormously talented guy, and he has a lot of confidence issues, and he was like, I just don't know if I'm as good as these people or this or that. And I was like, they keep you around, right? Like, people don't keep people around that are negative influences on their life unless they're enabling, right? But like, they typically, I surround myself with people that I believe in, that inspire me, that are always like trying new things and working towards it and trying to be the best person that they are. And so if you're in that circle, or if you have somebody in your circle who's not doing so well confidence wise, just remind them that like they're a part of that orbit with you,
Mm-hmm.
And so get out and do work and create work on your own. I mean, now's the time to do it. If you got a camera to be an actor, if you want to get into TV and film, and you got a camera, you got a smartphone or whatever, set it up, write some stuff. You don't even have to memorize it. Just stick a tape and put it underneath the camera, press roll, and create, film your monologues, practice that way. We do it as theater actors all the time. We're constantly rehearsing monologues or memorizing things or reading plays, and we really have to be doing those things with TV and film too, because it's a different medium. And you can do it. The resources are out there. You can go to online to, like Breakdown Express or whatever, and read the sides that are being auditioned right now. You don't have to be called in for it. You can read it. You can pay $66 a year or whatever and have access to those things. And so, like, I always say, like, if you're not doing something, it's not because somebody's, and this isn't always true, there's a lot of problems with accessibility and opportunities for people in the arts. But like, there are resources out there for you to practice, and you can go and get those. And if you're spending your time out at the bars late at night and you're spending your money that way, the little money that you're making as an actor, then you're not really ready to, get offered a role in a film where, you don't have, you have to move or whatever. Like, if you can't quit your job today and feel confident that the acting opportunity that's only going to pay you a fraction of what that other job could, then what are you doing? Because you're asking for that opportunity as an actor, for the opportunity to like drop everything and focus on this role. And if the first one that comes around pays you $100 a day and you don't get that money, or it's deferred or whatever, it's free stipended, you have to still knock it out of the park.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So quit your job. Get a job where you feel comfortable calling in your boss and saying, hey, I'm the best employee when I'm there. Today I can't be there.
Yeah.
And let them decide, and no hard feelings. You got to be upfront and honest with people. Like, but I always say to my friends who are like prioritizing their day job, I'm like, your day job isn't prioritizing you. They're not. Like, if they were, you would have no question. You're going to keep that job.
Exactly.
But if they're not, giving you benefits, or if they're not giving you the things that you need in your life, financially or stability wise, and really giving it to you, not just like this half-ass, like, oh, it works, then you got to prioritize the thing that's going to bring you happiness and that's going to, be aligned with what you want to do with your life, or else you're going to be depressed, bitter, old, and you're going to quit.
Exactly. All right. So The Chi, season 1 ends when?
Season 1 ends in 4 episodes. So 4 weeks, unless there's a,
So as we're recording this, it's 4 weeks. So by the time this is out, probably 2 weeks. So mid-March is what you're saying?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
All right. And then season 2, is that locked?
Season 2 is locked and ready to go. Ayanna Davis is the showrunner. It's going to be pretty sweet.
This is really exciting.
Yeah, I'm freaking psyched, man.
I'm so excited to have you here during season 1, just as this is about to just
Yeah, and then season 2, we're going to have to go to Sparky's.
Oh, my God. That's fine, but I think it has to be a lunchtime recording. I think they're lunchtime only.
I think you're right, yeah.
All right, so we'll totally do that. Mickey, congratulations on already an awesome year.
Thanks.
I think you're a terrific talent, and I'm really glad you led us here to diner food.
Thank you very much, man. You're the best. We're shaking hands now.
We are shaking hands.
Because that's the true Chicago way, right?
It's the true Chicago way. And again, we're Facebook friends.